Go ahead.
Welcome to Trustee's Garden and the Pirate's House, where people come to have fun and eat and drink. This is where the haunted 13th colony began its life. This is Trustee's Garden behind us. This is the place where in 1733, according to an early map, the earliest map we have of the colony, an Indian burial ground, a huge Indian burial ground, stood in the middle. And it was desecrated, just like half a dozen other burial grounds, Indian burial grounds in this place. Some say, it is said, that haunted Savannah actually begins, first of all, as the 13th colony, but a colony built on desecrated Indian burial ground. We're gonna go inside this amazing structure, this hodgepodge of different architectural styles, and discuss a little bit of the history, but also quite a lot about ghosts and a little book that sold a few copies called Treasure Island. Join me inside, if you will. Don't be late. Follow me. The entrance. This is the house that Traub built. Herb Traub, some say, saved originally by the Hillier family. Later, the Traubs move in, and so does Long John Silver and Captain Flint and Robert Louis Stevenson and all the ghosts. And then there are the tunnels, some say. Hi, good to see you. Good to be above ground another night.
Yeah.
One off to the right they call the pit, also known as the rum cellar. One I want to show you now. Pirate's House staff call this one the tunnel. If you go searching for whatever form you choose to search for things, for the tunnels of Savannah in connection with the Pirate's House, you'll get a lot of debate, a lot of tongue-in-cheek satire about it just being an old pit, that there never were tunnels that led down to the river, that sailors were never shanghaied from this place, or if they were shanghaied, that they certainly weren't thrown down into the tunnel and then like a river rat dropped onto a boat down on the river. But regardless, one thing's for sure. The staff, one of whom's job was to go down here and clean this place out every night of popsicles and various coins that are thrown down into this place, refuses to go down in there now. Not without someone with him, because he said the last time he went down in there, he heard someone calling his name as clear as day, right next to him. And then he felt something grab his ankle, and he's never been back down since. The tunnels of Savannah, we are 40 feet up above sea level here. We are not solid beneath our feet. We have a Victorian storm drain system consisting of Savannah gray bricks as our infrastructure. There are barrel vaults below our feet. There are tunnel fragments. There are shafts. We have a complex collection of underground of basements many of which are actually connected to one another, particularly in City Market. And over in this area, this whole area was called Old Fort. We'll dig deeper into that as we go along, but first I want to take you into the bowels of the old pirate's house. These are the Savannah gray bricks we were discussing. Various shades of brown, you see them all over. They were handmade by Gullah Geechee West Africans in the 1840s. Most of them, there are millions of them. One of the beliefs of the Gullah Geechee, from what I have been told, is that the spirit of a person who makes a thing stays in the thing that's made, which suggests something a little abstract, unless you've had perhaps a couple of Chatham artillery punches, that the whole place is haunted. Even its building materials have an issue. It gets worse back here. This room. It's unassuming. It's a quiet, friendly room. And yet there's an energy in the place. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife in here. Some say that's because of all the Savannah gray bricks that surround it, or it's made of. I suspect what we are dealing with is a place that you might call a haunted archaeological site. What haunts the pirate's house seems to be a layering of things. And then there is Captain Flint and Treasure Island. If you search Treasure Island in the pirate's house, or the ghost of Captain Flint, who local legend has always had it, whose voice is sometimes heard above the old herb cottage, which we'll get a closer look at here in a minute, that it's none other than the ghost of Captain Flint. Certainly Mr. Traub was a great proponent of that theory. However, they will say to you, oh, well, he was a fictional character. A fictional character cannot haunt a real place. Or can he? In the pirate's house, there most likely were never pirates in this place, whether it was built in the 1750s, as some say, or in the 1790s, as others say. Certain sections of it were built at different times and then restored at different times, and then even sections as late as the 1850s and later. But certainly, there's no question about the fact that though there were no pirates here, we had privateers. And privateers could be just as bad as pirates, if not worse, because they had no code of honor to keep everything together. You could come here, and there are documented reports of this happening to people early on here in this place called Old Fort, which was a maritime place, a sprawling place of grog shops, bordellos, Irish, Africans, ship captains, sailors, riffraff, sea rats, murders, all in one place. There was a place called Foley's Alley, which actually ran right through what is now this room. And Foley's Alley was the place that connected the Africans with the Irish. And all of this was happening. At the same time, if you came into here to get a drink, you were not guaranteed to leave, at least not in one piece. You could easily be given absinthe in your drinks, or some other type of, not absinthe, cut. I forget it's an opiate. You could easily be given something in your drink and end up halfway across the Atlantic Ocean, knocked over the head, senseless. I get a little strange whenever I come into this room. Let's see if I can recover on our way out. I have something else I want to show you. sweet spot. Music sounds good in here. If I dress like this or play like this in a place like this, some say it draws them. I like to think it does. Let's go into the herb cottage. I knew I would think of that opiate. It was called laudanum. You could easily end up with it in your drink here and be absolutely out cold. This is the room, the old herb cottage, which some early records suggest goes back as early as 1734, even though that's been somewhat disproven. More likely the case 1790s, 1750s perhaps, no earlier. But and then some say as late as the 1850s. But it's the room upstairs where all the problems seem to occur. And in that room upstairs, for decades and decades, as long as this place has been an establishment, staff do not like going upstairs. They claim to hear strange voices or be grabbed, or any number of other bad things can happen. It's one of those, I guess you could call it, concentrated areas of haunted activity here in the Pirate's House, and no one has a clue who it is. Of course, if you talk to the whole herb Traub, he would probably say it's the ghost of Captain Flint. These stairs used to go all the way up. They've been boarded up since then. And this is also the place where a certain character who is seen upstairs in what used to be called Hard-Hearted Hannah's, later various names for different lounges, who some call a sailor in a bowler hat with blue eyes, who is often seen, it has been seen here for decades and decades. We're gonna snake our way out of here at some point and reconvene, I hope, this time next year. There is no doubt that what we now call the Pirate's House here in haunted Savannah, Georgia, is one of the most haunted structures we have here in the city. A lot of times these renderings, these stories come together after the fact in a place where there have been experiences people have had for decades and decades. And sometimes it ends up as a ghost story, and sometimes it's a collection of things. In Trustee's Garden in the Pirate's House, it's about location, location, location. On behalf of Savannah Ghost Walks, I am the founder. See you soon.